Hello friends, good afternoon. Hi, this is Alok Ojha. Welcome to StudyIQ IAS English. Now, we are going through a series of medieval Indian history. And as a part of the series, I have tried to cover different topics, such as, precisely speaking, the different dynasties of Delhi Sultanate, particularly the slave, Khilji, Tughlaq, Sayyid and Lodi, Sufism, Bhakti movement, and now we are going through the regional dynasties, wherein we have covered Malwa Sultanate, Gujarat Sultanate, Jaunpur Sultanate, and Vijaynagar Empire. Today I am going to cover Tulua dynasty of Vijaynagar Empire. In the previous session, we had studied specifically about how the Vijayanagar Empire was being founded. And there were 4 different dynasties that consecutively ruled over the region of Vijayanagar Empire. The first one being the Sangam, followed by Salua, then comes Tulua dynasty, and then comes Aravidu dynasty. Correct? So, we had seen how specifically the major role was being played by Harihar and Bukka in the foundation of Vijayanagar Empire. I'll repeat the points in short within next 1 minute for easier understanding of the concept, so that the aspirants, those who are new to the platform, can easily correlate things that we have studied in the previous session. Okay? Listen to me carefully. Like there are different theories, or you can say there are dissenting opinion about various historians regarding the origin of the Vijayanagar Empire. Like Harihar and Bukka were considered as the founders of Vijayanagar Empire, particularly the Sangam dynasty. Now, there are 2 theories. One theory was given by Robert Sewell. Okay? Just a second. Just a second, guys, okay? So, one theory was given by Robert Sewell, and Robert Sewell gave this theory in his book, that is The Forgotten Empire. And he said that Harihar and Bukka, they had their origin from the region of Warangal. Precisely, they were working as feudatories for Kakatiyas of Warangal. Okay? Like I'll give you a very small example. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was one of the important rulers of Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, now Muhammad bin Tughlaq led an invasion to southern part of India, precisely in the region of Telangana. To be more precise, in the region of Warangal. And at that time, the ruler of Warangal was being defeated, whose name was Pratap Rudradev. Now, the 2 brothers, Harihar and Bukka, who were feudatories of Kakatiyas of Warangal, were forcibly converted into Islam. After some time, what happened? They came to the region of Kampili. And when they came to the region of Kampili located in Karnataka, after some time they established an independent kingdom, which is referred as Vidyanagar or Vijayanagar. And it is also believed that they were again brought back into the old fold of Hinduism by one of the saints at that time, whose name was Vidyaranya. Okay? So this was one of the theories that was given by Robert Sewell in his book, Forgotten Empire. So here the origin can be traced back to Kakatiyas. Simple words, Telugu origin. The other origin goes back to Kannada origin. Okay? And what is that specifically all about? There was a historian referred as B.L. Rice. And B.L. Rice says that specifically, like there was a person who worked as a feudatory for the Hoysala ruler Veer Ballal III, and his name was Sangam. Sangam had 5 sons. Among them, 2 of them were most important one, Harihar and Bukka. And it is believed that approximately around 1336 itself, during the time of Hoysalas, when the Hoysalas were on the verge of decline, an independent kingdom was formed at a place called as Hosapatan. which was later referred as Vijaynagar Empire. In fact, Harihar and Bukka, the two brothers, they were also considered as what? The feudatories, or they were the military commanders for the Hoysala ruler Veer Ballal III. So this speaks about what? The Kannada origin of Harihar and Bukka. So that was basic introduction about the Vijayanagar Empire that we had seen in the previous session. In today's session, we are going to understand about the role of Krishna Devaray. We are going to understand about the role of Sadashiv Rai. Who was Alia Ram Rai? And what is the famous Battle of Rakshasa Tangdi, which is also referred as Battle of Talikota, which was fought in 1565. Okay? So, Vijayanagar Empire, there were 4 dynasties which consecutively rule one after the other. The first one was Sangam dynasty. And in the previous session, we had seen about the Sangam dynasty. The last ruler of the Sangam dynasty, Virupaksha, was being dethroned by Narsimha Salua, who laid the foundation of Salua dynasty. And then comes Tulua dynasty, who had important ruler in the form of Krishna Devaray. Now, many important historians believe that Veer Narsimha Rai was considered as the founder of Tulua dynasty. Okay, but the major point that we need to understand here is, from the time of Veer Narsimha Rai, the policy of expansionism and imperialism was being followed. Okay? In fact, the actual founder of this dynasty was Narsa Nayak. He was working as a military commander for specifically whom? The Saluas, the previous dynasty. Okay? Many of them believe that like he was also the Nayak and the military commander. I have already discussed about the Nayankar system. Okay? So, Narsa Nayak, who is considered as the actual founder of Tulua dynasty, he had 3 sons. The first one was Veer Narsimha Rai, followed by Krishna Devaray, and then comes Achyut Devaray. And one after the other, his sons acquired the throne of Vijayanagar Empire, precisely Tulua dynasty. Hope you are getting the points. Please do not get confused. I am going in a step-by-step manner, gradual manner, for easier understanding of the concept. Okay? I'll repeat. As I have told you, again within 1 minute, Vijayanagar Empire's foundation was being laid down by Harihar and Bukka. First dynasty was Sangam, followed by Salua, followed by Tulua, and then comes Aravidu. Okay? Now, Tulua dynasty was being founded by Narsa Nayak. Narsa Nayak had 3 sons who succeeded one after the other. First one was Veer Narsimha Rai, followed by Krishna Devaray, and then comes Achyut Devaray. Okay? So many historians consider what? Veer Narsimha Rai as the founder of Tulua dynasty. But in fact, the founder was Narsa Nayak, and the actual policy of expansionism and imperialism started from the time of Veer Narsimha Rai. Hope the point is clear. Okay? Now let's move ahead. Now we'll understand about the individual rulers. Precisely, we'll speak about Krishna Devaray ji. In Krishna Devaray ji, we'll speak about his expedition particularly related to Battle of Divani, which was against the Adil Shahi. Okay. Apart from this, we will also speak about the attack on the region of Utkal or Odisha, precisely the Gajapati rulers. Now, the rule of Krishna Devaray is not only about expansionism and imperialism. UPSC also has a tendency to ask questions on Krishna Devaray, particularly related to art and culture. because Krishna Devaray ji was a great patron of art and literature. He had constructed different cities. One of the example is Nagalpuram city in the name of his mother. Apart from this, he was a great scholar of Telugu and Sanskrit. Okay? Then it is also said that he patronized different scholars, Kannada scholars, Tamil scholars. His court was being adorned by 8 important scholars at that time, also referred as Ashtadiggaj. And many of the works were being composed by Krishna Devaray himself and these 8 important scholars. So guys, in today's session, I'm not only going to speak about the imperialistic approach of the different rulers of Tulua dynasty, but I'll also speak things from the perspective of art and culture. To an extent, this, what we say today's session, is a bit factual. And you have to remember these facts, guys, because you don't have any option. Isn't that so? Because UPSC has a tendency to ask questions directly. Correct? Like, who is the author of this book? Or Barbosa came during the time of whom? So all Domingo Pace came during the time of whom? So all these things that you need to understand. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin with today's session. Krishna Devaray. Krishna Devaray, he is considered one of the greatest ruler not only of Tulua dynasty but of the Vijaynagar Empire. As I've told you, he not only focused on the policy of imperialism and expansionism, but he also focused on the development of art and architecture, literature, Kannada literature, Telugu literature, Tamil literature. And he's also referred as Abhinav Bhoj, Andhra Pitama, and Andhra Bhoj. Very important concept. UPSC have asked a question. Andhra Pitama was a title given to. So it was a title given to Krishna Devaray. Okay. Now, there was another important question. Andhra Bhoj was referred to whom? It was referred to Krishna Devaray ji. So, at that time, the situation was quite volatile. And I have talked about the Bahmani rulers also previously, that during the time of Sangam dynasty as well, they were having, like the Vijayanagar Empire was constantly having a fight with the Bahmani rulers who were ruling in the region majorly of Maharashtra. Okay. Now, apart from this, there were many Deccan, what we say, Sultanate, who had skirmishes with Krishna Devaray, such as Bidar, apart from this Golconda, Bahamanis, and the major bone of contention was Raichur Doab. Okay, major bone of contention was Raichur Doab. Why Raichur Doab? Raichur Doab, it's located between river Krishna and Tungabhadra. And it is quite fertile region and important from the perspective of trade and commerce. So there have been a continuous fight between the Vijayanagar and Bahmani. Correct? Because Raichur Doab was a bone of contention between both of them. So Krishna Devaray, he occupied this region. From whom? He occupied the region from the Adil Shahi forces of Bijapur. So now he had a control over the Raichur Doab. After this, it is said that he had released many of the prisoners, particularly who were there in the Adil Shahi forces of Bijapur. Like there were many princes who were being imprisoned by Adil Shah of Bijapur. And they were being released by Krishna Devaray. Hence, Krishna Devaray also assumed a title, that is Yavanaraj Sthapanacharya. Okay. So the region of Raichur Doab was being occupied by Krishna Devaray. After occupying this region, it is said that many of the princes were being released, okay, who were taken as prisoners by the Bijapur Sultanate. And after this, he assumed the title Yavanaraj Sthapanacharya. Clear? Now let's move on to the other. Gajapati rulers. Now the Gajapatis particularly ruled in the region of Utkal or Odisha. Now, Utkal or Odisha, from the past, it was known for different things, and particularly for the elephants. N number of times I have given you the example about this. Mahmud of Ghazni had plundered India for 17 times. And his major purpose was to plunder India, not to establish a permanent settlement. But still he attacked the region of Utkal because he wanted to acquire elephants from that region. So was Muhammad Ghori. In the coming years, the rulers of slave dynasty, rulers of Tughlaq dynasty, precisely Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So at that time, it is said that Prataprudra, the ruler of Gajapati, was being defeated by Krishna Devaray. So Krishna Devaray's influence extended to the region of Utkal as well, which was referred as Vijaynagar or Jajpur. So he accepted the suzerainty of Krishna Devaray. So these were the two major expeditions of the Krishna Devaray ji. Okay, and at that time, Portuguese had come to India. So he had maintained good cordial relations with the Portuguese governor whose name was Albuquerque. Okay, Domingo Pais and Barbosa came to India during the reign of Krishna Devaray and gave a vivid description of the society during the time of Krishna Devaray. Okay, now I'll tell you about who was Albuquerque, what is Portuguese, like who were the Portuguese. Portuguese were the first Europeans to come in India. So the first one who came to India was Vasco da Gama, who landed at the coast of Calicut along with 4 ships, approximately 176 to 178 crew members, and he was directed towards India by a Gujarati merchant whose name was Abdul Majid. He landed at the coast of Calicut and he met the Eradi dynasty ruler Samutri, also referred as Zamorin. Now, he wanted to trade with India precisely in spices. This person, Vasco da Gama, was being followed by Pedro Cabral. Pedro Cabral had a lot of skirmishes with the Arabs because previously the spice trade was being dominated by the Arabs. Then comes Francisco de Almeida. Almeida was considered for his blue water policy that he followed, so that he can have a monopolistic control over the trade in Indian Ocean. He was considered as the first Portuguese governor, followed by Albuquerque. Albuquerque developed Goa as the epicenter of his activities. Albuquerque started the first Portuguese mint in India. Albuquerque banned the system of sati for the first time in the region of Goa. It was the same Albuquerque, the Portuguese governor, who had a very cordial relations with Krishna Devaray because Portuguese at that time were focusing on expansionism. They were establishing more and more factories on the east and the west coast of India so that they can have a monopolistic control over the trade, particularly the European trade. So Albuquerque, he had good cordial relations with whom? Krishna Devaray ji. And Domingo Pais and Barbosa were they were the travelers, the Portuguese travelers who came to India during the reign of Krishna Devaray. So what all do you need to remember till here? I'll repeat again within short. Okay? Because as I've told you, session is factual undoubtedly. And you have to remember these facts, guys. Okay? So I'm telling you what all to remember. Please do not worry. Please have a pen and paper along with you so that you can note down the important facts, important concepts. I hope you understood about the role of Narsa Nayak, his 3 sons who succeeded one after the other. Krishna Devaray, he defeated the Gajapatis of Odisha. Krishna Devaray, apart from defeating the Gajapatis of Odisha, he also defeated whom? It is said that the Adil Shahi of Bijapur, and freed 3 princes from there who were being imprisoned. And he assumed the title Yavana Rajasthapanacharya. So please remember this title. Apart from this, he is also called as Andhra Bhoj, Andhra Pitama. Okay, then Abhinav Pitama. So you have to remember these titles. Then two of the Portuguese travelers came during the time of Krishna Devaray ji. And who were they? Domingo Pace and Barbosa. Hope you understood till here. Now let's move ahead. Now Krishna Devaray, we'll go with the factual part now. Now Krishna Devaray, he was a patron of Tirupati. Tirupati Balaji, one of the most famous temples precisely of South India. You might have heard about this. So he was a patron of whom? Rather than saying patron, he was worshipper of the deity of the Tirupati. In fact, his mother was also the worshipper of the deity of Tirupati. And so he founded a small suburban town near Vijaynagar, which is referred as Nagalpuram. And Nagalpuram, this small town, developed as an epicenter of art and culture, epicenter of economic activities in the coming years. The town Nagalpuram, which was being founded by Krishna Devaray ji, okay, it was due to it is said that he founded this town in the name of his mother, Nagamba Devi. Okay, so please remember this. Now, he added the concept of Gopuram or gateway to the many important South Indian temples. Now, I'll give you a very small example. Now, like for example, the temple architecture in the ancient India started developing during the time of Gupta dynasty rulers. Now, it is said that temple architecture has different concepts. Okay? Like precisely speaking, there is something called as Mandapam, Garbhagriha, Vahan. Apart from this, Shikhar, Amlak. So that is called as Nagar style of temple architecture. And the temple architecture that is precisely found in southern part of India to the south of river Narmada is referred as Dravida style of architecture. So different modifications of the temple architecture was being made by whom? Krishna Devaray ji. And one of the modification was Gopuram or gateway to the many South Indian temples. Okay? Apart from this, he built the famous temple Vitthal Swami and he reconstructed the Hazar Ramaswamy temple located at Vijaynagar. So please remember one key important aspect. See, even if you do not remember about the Vitthal Swami temple, even if you do not remember about the Hazar temple, you should remember about one thing. And what is that? The town of Nagalpuram, which became an important center of trade and commerce plus or important center of economic activity plus art and culture. And this town was being founded by Krishna Devaray ji. Town was named after his mother, Nagamba Devi. Now let's move on to the literature part. As I have told you, he was a gifted scholar of Telugu and Sanskrit both. And he himself has composed many works in Sanskrit. Okay? Like, I'll give you a very small example. Madala's Charitra. Now, Madala's Charitra, what does it mention? Now, Madala's Charitra, it mentions about the qualities of a warrior, plus it's also mentioned about the different ethical practices. So, it's a mixture of both. One is philosophy and second is materialistic life. Now, Madalas, she is a queen and Vikram, he is the king. Okay? Now, Madalas, she is a virtuous lady. Now, there's also a different story of Madalas, which is mentioned in Markandeya Puran. Okay? But this is a story that is actually, or it's a poetic format that is actually written by whom? It is written by, yes, Krishna Devaray ji. So, Madalas, she was a virtuous lady. And Vikram, he was a king. And in that case, it is said that he was known for his courage and valor. Now, they had a son whose name was Kuval Yasva. Now, this lady, Madalas, wanted her son to imbibe good ethical qualities such as empathy, sympathy, compassion. On the other hand, his father Vikram wanted him to follow the policy of imperialism and expansionism. So he focused more on materialism. So this this exactly the book Madlas Charit, it focuses on mixture of spirituality, precisely philosophy and materialistic life. So it was being written by whom? It was being written by, yes, it was being written by Krishna Devaray. Another important book, Satyavadu Parinay, Ras Manjari. In Ras Manjari, if you remember, we had studied about Kalidas, correct? We had studied about the dramas of Kalidas such as Vikramo Vashiyam, Malvika Agnimitram, okay, Abhigyan Shakuntalam, the most famous drama of Kalidas. Apart from the dramas, we had studied about the different poems of Kalidas such as Ritu Samhar, Kumar Sambhav, Meghadutam. So Kalidas was considered as a romantic poet during the time of Gupta era. So he had written a poem which is called as Ritu Samhar, which mentions about the emotions of lovers in different seasons. Similarly, in a poetic format, Ras Manjari was being written by Krishna Devaraya ji, which depicts about the emotions of lovers in different seasons. Like 6 to 8 emotions have been depicted in a poetic format in Ras Manjari, written by Krishna Devaraya ji. And another important work is Jambavati Kalyana of Krishna Devaraya. Okay? So please remember these texts. These texts are important from the exam perspective. Why? Usually there can be a question, which among the following are the texts of Krishna Devaraya? Like just a while back, I gave you one of the example, which among the following are the dramas of Kalidas. Okay? Like, for example, Abhigyan Shakuntalam, first, Ritu Samhar, third, Meghadutam. Which among the following are the dramas? So answer to this is only one, Abhigyan Shakuntalam, because the rest two are poem. So similarly, there could be a question, which among the following are the works of Krishna Devaray? So, what we say, Madlas Charit, Satyavadu Parinay, Ras Manjari and Jambavati Kalyan. The most important one here is Madlas Charit and Ras Manjari. Hope it is clear. Now, he also patronized different Telugu, Tamil and Kannada scholars. Okay? Like I'll give you a very simple example about this. Vyasatirth, he was a scholar. Okay? And he wrote different books. I'll give you a small example. Bhedo Jeevan, Tatpare Chandrika, Nyaya Mitra. Okay? And Tarak Tandav. Now I'll tell you, yes guys, I can understand things are a bit factual, things are a bit difficult to remember. Okay? So I would just tell you one thing. Just remember the name of the scholar that was being patronized by Krishna Devaray. Just remember the scholar that was being patronized. Okay? So, Sanskrit scholar, Vyasatirth was being patronized. Just remember this. I have added this factual information because when I give you the PDF, it would be quite easier for you to write these facts. So just remember this scholar, and secondly, necessary, mandatorily you have to remember the 4 important works of Krishna Devaray. Okay. Now let's understand about the Ashtadiggaj that were being patronized by the, what we say, Krishna Devaray. One among the Diggaj was very famous and everyone knows about him. Tenali Raman. Correct? So, just remember the name of Ashtadiggaj and I'll tell you what you need to remember or which work of the Ashtadiggaj you need to remember from the exam perspective. So, 8 Telugu poets also included one of the Tamil poet in the form of what we say Tenali Raman is referred as Ashtadiggaj, who adorned the court of Krishna Devaray. Okay? The first one was Allasani Pedan. Okay? Now, he was considered to be the greatest and given the title of Andhra Kavita Pitama. So, it is necessary. Question can crop up in the examination. Andhra Pitama was a title given to Krishna Devaray. And Andhra Kavita Pitama was a title given to Allasi Pedan. That's it you have to remember. Next scholar, Nandi Thiman. If you can memorize the book, that well and good enough. Otherwise, just remember the name of these Ashtadikgajas. Okay? Third one specifically was Madaya Gari Mallan, Dhurjati. Okay? Then Ayalla Raju, Rama Bhadrudu. Just remember the names. I can even understand that these names are a bit difficult to pronounce, and in fact they're a bit difficult to remember. But just remember the names. Nandi Thimman, Madaigari Mallan, Dhurjati, Ayalla Raju. Okay? Pingali Suran, Batu Murti. Okay. And Batu Murti's, this work is very important. Harish Chandra Nalo Pakya Namu. Now, it's a Vedic story specifically about Nal and Damayanti. So here two stories have been mentioned. Okay? One is a story about the Vedic king, everyone might have heard about him, Harish Chandra. And the other important story is about Nal and Damayanti. So please remember about Bhattu Murti. He has written about Nal and Damayanti, who were the important characters also mentioned in Puran and Mahabharat. Okay? And finally comes Tenali Ramakrishna. Okay? So this is all about the, what we say, numerous scholars who were being patronized by Krishna Dev Rai. Hope so the points are clear. So these are the Kannada scholars you have to remember. Even if you remember the Kannada scholars, it's well and okay. But in that case, if you do not remember them, do not worry. Why? As I've told you, just remember the major works of Krishna Devaray. That's it. Okay? Now, Achyut Devaray. So Achyut Devaray, he was the younger brother of Krishna Devaray. As I have told you, Narsanayak, he was the founder. He had three sons, Veera Narasimha Rai, followed by Krishna Dev Rai, followed by Achyut Dev Rai. So he was the younger brother of Krishna Dev Rai. Now, before understanding about him, now let's understand about things like what happens further. Okay, listen to me. Krishna Dev Rai, he was being succeeded by his brother Achyut Dev Rai. Okay. Now, after Achyut Dev Rai, it is said that his son sat on the throne whose name was Venkat. I am going to explain an important concept from here, because this person's role, Alia Ram Rai, is very important in Battle of Talikota or Battle of Rakshasa Tangadi. So we need to understand this concept and we need to understand this dynamics. Okay? Krishna Dev Rai was being succeeded by his brother Achyut Dev Rai. Now Achyut Dev Rai was being succeeded by his son whose name was Venkat. Okay? After some time, this person, Venkat, was being deposed. Now, who deposed Venkat? And whose role was being played here? Alia Ram Rai. He deposed Venkat. Who is Alia Ram Rai? Okay? Alia, it's a Kannada word which basically means son-in-law. So he was son-in-law of Krishna Dev Rai. Okay? Now, why this person Alia Ram Rai was interested in deposing Venkat and bringing on throne Sadashiv Rai? There is a reason behind this. Okay? Krishna Dev Rai had a son named as Sadashiv Rai. Okay? And he was a minor. So, when Achyut Dev Rai would be succeeded by his son Venkat, what will happen? After deposing him, Alia Ram Rai will put on the throne Sadashiv Rai, who is a minor and he is not that competent enough ruler. And in that case, I will work for him as a regent. And when I will work for him as a regent, in that case, with the passage of time, what will happen? I'll go for a dynastic revolution. And the entire Tulua dynasty, it will collapse. And this is what happened. Okay? His brother, Alia Ram Rai's brother, he laid the foundation of another dynasty which is referred as Aravidu dynasty, which was considered as the last dynasty that ruled over the Vijaynagar Empire. Okay? Are you understanding the concept? I'll repeat the point again. Krishna Devaray, he was being succeeded by his brother, Achyut Devaray. Achyut Devaray had a son referred as Venkat. So he was being succeeded by Venkat. Now Krishna Devaray had a son named as Sadashiv Rai and a son-in-law referred as Alia Ram Rai. Okay? So this person, Sadashiv Rai, was a minor. Now Alia Ram Rai had a different plot going on in his mind. What? He will depose this person Venkat and put Sadashiv Rai on the throne. And he himself work as a regent for Sadashiv Rai. Why? Because Sadashiv Rai is a minor. So he will work as a puppet for them. And in fact, his plot became successful because, like it is said, that his brother founded Aravidu dynasty. But before the foundation of Aravidu dynasty, this person, Alia Ram Rai, he was being killed. Okay? Now, how he was being killed, let's understand. I have given the entire information in the PDF. Okay? So this is nothing but the, explanation of what I have told you or what information that I have given you right now. Okay? Aspirants, those who are new to the platform, or those who are watching my videos for the first time, they can easily download the PDF of the sessions from my Telegram channel, history_Alok Ojha. I repeat, history_Alok Ojha. Okay? So, hope you understood this part. Correct? So, Sadashiv Rai was a puppet and Alia Ram Rai was a regent who was a de facto king. Now, try and understand the dynamics here. Okay. Why this person, I'll give you why this person whose name was Ram Rai, Alia Ram Rai, he developed animosity with the different rulers, particularly with the Deccan Sultanate. Okay, now let's understand about this. Nizam Shah, they ruled in the region of Ahmednagar, precisely in the region of Maharashtra. Qutub Shah, they ruled in the region of Golconda. Okay? And there was Barid Shahi, they ruled in the region of Bidar. Okay? So, what happened here? This person, Alia Ram Rai, was a very opportunistic personality. Why he was an opportunistic personality? He never stayed on one side. And in fact, he kept on swinging his side based on the concept of profitability that he got in return. Okay? Now what happened? I'll give you a very small example. Nizam Shahi, ruling in the region of Ahmednagar, and Qutub Shahi of Golconda, they were having an eye over the Raichur Doab. Quite fertile region, important from the perspective of trade and commerce as discussed. Located between two rivers, River Krishna and Tungabhadra. So important from the perspective of trade. So Nizam Shahi in Ahmednagar, okay, and Qutub Shahi were eyeing the region of Raichur Doab. But they knew one thing, they are unable to fight. Whom? Adil Shahi of Bijapur. So what did they do? They asked help from Alia Ram Rai, that please help us to acquire the region of Raichur Doab from whom? Bijapur. Okay? And in that case, whatever you want in return, we will give you. This person got ready. So there was alliance of three kings against Bijapur. Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar, Qutub Shahi of Golconda, Ram Rai, and against whom? Adil Shahi of Bijapur. And they acquired the region of Raichur. Okay? At first instance, we will feel that what is happening here? We will feel that precisely these three have an alliance. But as I've told you, this person Ram Rai used to swing sides on the basis of profitability. Now in 1549, what happened? There was a fight for the region of Kalyan, presently in Maharashtra. Okay? On one side was Adil Shahi, Bijapur, and Barid Shahi of Bidar, Karnataka. Okay? Now they were eyeing Kalyan region. Okay? And Kalyan was under whom? Nizam Shahi, Ahmednagar. So Nizam Shah asked Ram Raya, please help me in keeping the region of Kalyan intact against whom? Barid Shahi of Bidar and Adil Shahi of Bijapur. Whatever you want, we will give you. So Ram Rai, he supported whom? Ram Rai supported Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar and he gave the region of Kalyan to him. So on one side, he is sometimes against Bijapur, he is sometimes against Barid Shahi. In 1557, what happened further? Adil Shah, Barid Shah and Ram Rai. Initially in 1549, what we observed? This person, Ram Rai, was opposed to Adil Shahi and Barid Shahi. And what happened? 8 years later, 1557, he formed an alliance with Adil Shah, Barid Shah. Okay, against whom? Nizam Shah, whom he supported previously 2 times. Okay, once in acquiring the region of Raichur and secondly in acquiring the region of Kalyan. So, all these 4 rulers, particularly Barid Shahi of Bidar, Qutub Shahi of Golconda, Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar and Adil Shahi of Bijapur, realized that this person is not trustworthy. He cannot be trusted at all because he keeps on swinging the side and he's making a fool out of us. So finally, these 4 of them came together and there was a battle against Ram Rai in 1565, which is referred as Battle of Rakshasa Tangdi or Battle of Talikota, in which Ram Rai had to face a humiliating defeat. Apart from this, historians also believe that Ram Rai was being killed in this battle. Okay? So this is how Ram Rai's end came. Hope you understood. See, it is always said that particularly to run the administration or to run the politics, one needs to have smartness. But there's a difference between smartness and over smartness. Sometimes over smartness can back off. And this is what happened in the case of Ram Rai. Correct? I'll repeat the point again within next 30 seconds for easier understanding. Nizam Shahi, Qutub Shahi, they wanted to acquire the region of Raichur, which was under Bijapur Sultanate. Okay? Ram Rai sided with them and helped them out. Now, Nizam Shah, he wanted to keep the region of Kalyan intact, but Adil Shah and Barid Shah were eyeing on this region. So Ram Rai sided with Nizam Shah and gave Kalyan to whom? Nizam Shahi. Later on, Adil Shah made an alliance with Barid Shahi and Ram Rai made an alliance with Adil Shahi of Bijapur and Barid Shahi against Nizam Shah, whom he was supportive in the previous 2 battles. Finally, all of the four realized that this guy is making fool out of us. And in 1565, Battle of Rakshasi Tangra or Battle of Talikota was being fought, in which he was being severely defeated and he was being killed. Okay? So this is what I have mentioned completely about the Battle of Rakshasa Tangdi, also referred as Battle of Talikota in the northern part of Karnataka. So every information is given as a part of the PDF. So please do not worry about this. Okay? Vijaynagar Empire, just remember the last dynasty was Aravidu dynasty, and the foundation of Aravidu dynasty was laid by Tirumala Devaray. Who was Tirumala Devaray? He was the brother of Ramaray. Okay? And as I've told you, Ramaray was being killed after the battle of Talikota. Okay? So these are considered after him. Sriranga Devaray was another important ruler of Aravidu dynasty, and these are considered as the last rulers of Aravidu dynasty. So just remember, who was the founder of Aravidu dynasty? Tirumala Devaray. Who was he? Brother of Aliya Ramaray. Ramaray. Okay? And who was the last ruler? It was Sriranga III. That's it. So this is majorly about the Vijayanagar Empire in short. As a part of Vijayanagar Empire Part 1, I have covered majorly the Sangam dynasty. Here I have tried to cover the majorly the Tulua dynasty, and the major focus was on Krishna Devaray. I can understand today's session was a bit factual, but also important from the exam perspective. Time and again question have been asked and question can be asked from this section. Okay, so hope you understood things. Hope the session was informative. Okay guys, so today is the last day of the StudyIQ Optional Fest. Okay, 24 July 2025. So at an affordable price, StudyIQ IS English has come up with what we say Optional Fest, wherein you'll get a complete package of GS plus CSAT plus the optional. Okay, and it covers wide range of optionals ranging from law, psychology, philosophy, Hindi literature, English literature, political science, sociology, and many more. So it's a complete package of GS and the optional at affordable price. So today is the last day of the Optional Fest. Correct? See, like if you go in Delhi, particularly in the offline classes, you'll come across one thing, that the what we say fees of the classes are quite hefty when GS, CSAT and the optional course is included. So for the ease of the students, the complete course is in English language to cater the needs of South Indian and Northeastern students. Like there's a complete package of GS plus optional plus CSAT at an affordable price of 42,999. And to avail the benefits, you can use my code Alok Live that is flashing on your screen. I repeat the code Alok Live. Okay guys. So the PDF would be available of the session on history_Alok Ojha, my Telegram channel. So see you guys tomorrow with a new session. Hope you like the video. Thank you guys.